Have I told you lately, Brad, that I'm grateful for you? I am. Hi there, I'm Julie Turner, Julieturner.ca.
I'm Brad Lovell and completely miffed. I wasn't ready for that.
I know, he's seldom ready for what I put forward. Welcome to No BS Talk, where there will be no BS.
Because we know BS?
We do know BS, absolutely.
That was a question.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of questions from Brad today because I'm just going to throw stuff at him.
Well, hold on a minute. Thank you. I'm grateful for you too.
Oh, you are so very welcome. So the reason that I started that way is A, because it's true. B, because it's Thanksgiving Day today when we're recording this, and I just wanted to acknowledge that. I also wanted to acknowledge one of the opposites of being grateful. And what is that, Brad? Do you have any idea what the opposite of being grateful?
Cola, uncola, grateful, ungrateful.
All right, then. I'm going to go with resentment.
Oh!
I'm going to go with, instead of being grateful for whatever the case may be, I'm going to go with the opposite of that might be resentment.
Resentment.
In some cases.
Yeah, that would be right in there.
Yeah. So,
what you got?
I wanted to bring up a topic today that was extremely relevant to my own life today, but in general, I see it happen so often. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to bring up, originally I said, let's talk about forgiveness. And we will touch on that, but I've already thrown the word resentment out there. And I wanted to talk about resentment because resentment is where we get our suffering from. Pain is not suffering, resentment is suffering. So, and I just wanted to, again, throw that out there.
Throwing good. You're
Awesome.
Throwing good today, Julie.
Awesome. So the BS that I would like to discuss is the word and the act of forgiveness and how we have been taught to apply it to our lives and how it maybe should look or possibly might be more fitting to look. Does that make sense? Am I speaking English? You with me so far, Brad?
Well, you're really good at losing me, but I'm good at getting back on the bus.
Awesome. Yes. So many jokes. I will just leave that completely alone. You may or may not have noticed that we're in a different location today well. We are. Normally, if you are interested in stalking us, we're at Brad's. If you like what you see around us, it would be him that you need to stalk. Today, we're at my place, and don't worry, Brad, I'm not giving the address yet.
Yeah, but I will. Okay.
Awesome. We're at my place today, so I am grateful that Brad agreed to come down and be at my place as well.
No, it gets me out of the house.
So much gratitude. So, do you want to just, right? It's very interesting because like
this is okay. You got me wondering.
Okay.
You got me wondering. Take me through kind of a top to bottom cause and effect
of the whole forgiveness thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like resentment, forgiveness. How does it work?
All right. So, again, this is something that's come up in my life very, very recently, and it comes up in all of our lives. Now, I wanted to tell you guys, point blank, you all need to forgive. And watch how much frustration and anger I got thrown at me. Because we don't want to forgive and forget. And we've got our reasons for not loving that person or liking that person anymore, right? That's a thing. You can choose to do that.
But what if it's unforgivable?
And sometimes it is unforgivable, but it's actually really interesting because this quote, and I doubt very highly that it's originally from Lily Tomlin, but there is a quote from Lily Tomlin that states, "Forgiveness is simply the act of understanding you can't have a better past." Do you see anything about another person in there? No, it's not about another person. It's simply the understanding that you cannot have a better past. It is nothing to do with bringing that person back into your life, forgiving and forgetting, giving them a little snuggle when you see them. No, it's about understanding that there's no way to change.
Something tells me there's going to be a lot of people saying but.
Yeah,
right now.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of people saying but. And the big but is we all learn from a very young age what forgiveness is supposed to look like, and we don't learn that it's within us and only pertains to us. We learn that we forgive someone else. And you can forgive yourself and you can forgive someone else. Don't get me wrong. I'm not setting rules upon this, but I'm saying you don't need to. But you do need to stop resenting the past because you cannot change it. And resentment just causes you suffering. The person that caused this, if there was another person, sometimes it's not another person. Sometimes it's a friggin' earthquake. That should never have happened. Why was I involved? Blah, blah, blah. But the other person or inanimate object or situation doesn't feel your resentment. You do.
So let me back up a little bit.
Okay.
Because you say that forgiveness is like a trained thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. We are trained to understand everything, arguably, in our lives looks a certain way. And forgiveness is included in that. So we are trained to understand, or we receive a message about what forgiveness looks like, or what love looks like, for that matter. Like, we could go infinite possibilities as to how we're trained and how we need to untrain ourselves, or at least be a little bit looser in our definitions of things. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So would it be correct to say that, this is a learned thought process, or it can be a relearned thought process?
Well, you learned it one time, right? Why can't you relearn it another way? So, as Brad had mentioned, because I briefly alluded to possibly what I might be talking about, and he mentioned that it's not that easy. You can't just go from A to B, and I 100% agree, because it wasn't that easy to train you in the first place. Why would it be that easy to change it? So what we need to do is we need to practice these things. We need to be aware that your mind is a troubleshooter. It's looking for scary things. It's looking to protect you. So of course, if somebody does something to you or a situation happens to you, your mind is like, always remembering that, dislike that person, situation forever.
I'm taking notes.
But the fact is that when we embrace our pain and hold it near and dear to us, we are the ones that suffer 100%. So is that what you want? Like, you want to actually suffer forever? Because you're not causing the other person suffering. Always remember that. Your suffering is felt to you and only to you.
I'm sitting at home polishing my turd of resentment, and they're on their way to Tahiti.
Yeah, they're doing their life.
The only person that's hurting is me.
Absolutely.
But the thing is that depending on everybody's situation is different. Every little thing that happens
100%.
is different. So I'm not going to say there's varying degrees of resentment, but there is things that are going to happen that you're going to want to hold on to a lot longer.
Right.
And I myself personally have been in a situation where it's taken years to be mindful enough to just get over some of these things.
And it's not even about getting over. It's understanding when that situation comes up in your mind and you're like, ooh, it's like, oh, there's actually no place for that in my mind. That's not sensible to even think about right now. So what can I do? It's a learned behavior. Again, you have to go, oh, there, my mind is giving me that resentment again. No need for that. I'm not saying you're never going to feel resentment. Be aware that resentment is not supporting you. It's not useful to you.
Right. Absolutely. I would agree with that 100%.
So there's... When you were saying, there's going to be situations that come up that you want to hold on to that resentment a little bit more, or people, feel like, oh no, I cannot let this one go. That's a different subject, because you need to then go into boundaries. So say somebody does something to you and they've done it repeatedly and you're like, how come I don't get to resent them? Well, you still don't, because again, the resentment is within you, still hurting you, but you need to put in proper boundaries so that that exact situation doesn't happen again. And when we get the same situation happening over and over again, it generally is a pretty big lack of boundaries, or you don't listen to your intuition, or like a plethora of things. But we're keeping this specific to resentment today. And how resentment is felt by you. It is a choice. Does that make sense?
100%.
Awesome.
I would have disagreed with you 10 years ago, but I agree with you without question.
There'll probably be a few people out there right now that just really want to arm wrestle me or drown me because they're like, no, that person hurt me. And I'm not taking that away from you. I'm truly, truly not. But the fact is, you resenting and suffering over that doesn't hurt them, hurts you. End of story. So we need, if we want to feel comfortable in our own skin, we need to relearn, and we just need to be aware when our mind is actually poisoning us. It's not poisoning them. It's poisoning us. Does that make sense?
That makes absolute sense.
Awesome. So, Brad did not get to talk a lot in this episode, and I think it's about time we wrap it up. But what did we want to bring up in the next episode? Do you remember?
Well, I kind of like your idea of maybe fleshing out that whole boundaries thing a little bit.
Okay.
More maybe.
Okay, boundaries is a good one.
What else? Did I forget already?
He did forget already.
Sorry, I fell asleep while I wasn't talking.
Right? Exactly. It happens. That's why I had to talk, so I didn't fall asleep.
Catatonic.
Actually, hypnosis. Actually.
Is that
truly?
Did you hypnotize me?
I always. You're all hypnotized.
I was wondering.
The other thing is just so weird. The awareness that our minds, are our version of reality, no matter what the subject is. So we get a ton of questions, and thank you again so much. We love the questions, and please, please, please keep them coming, and we will answer them one at a time. We might throw a couple in at the same episode, but I do want to touch on the judgment issue, when people feel judged. You ready for that next time, Brad?
Bring it, Julie.
Awesome.
There's no fear.
He cries. It's okay.
A lot.
We cut that out of the recordings. It's all good. Thank you guys so much for your time today. And if you have any questions about forgiveness, I'm going to ask for cries of outrage, and I know I might actually get them on this topic. So please let us know your thoughts. And again, I'm not negating that you've been in pain, but suffering is always an option.
I think a big takeaway from that is just it's unhealthy for you personally to continue to do that.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you, Brad. I'm ready to forgive. What about you?
Well, I forgave. Shit, I gave it the office, man.
Thank you guys so much for watching. And stay tuned for the next episode?
Is that what we're calling them?
Yeah, I think we'll call them episodes from now on. Or until next time when we pick another word.
Episode.
Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.